Ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you today about something simple, powerful, and life-changing. The title says it all: God will make it happen. Not maybe. Not if everything lines up perfectly. Not if people approve. God will make it happen. Faith means trusting God even when nothing makes sense yet. That kind of trust isn't loud, it isn't flashy, and most of the time it doesn't look impressive to other people. Faith usually looks like waking up every day and doing the right thing while your situation stays the same. It looks like praying when you don't feel anything change immediately. It looks like believing God heard you even when heaven feels quiet. That's the part nobody applauds, but that's the part God responds to. A lot of people say they have faith, but what they really mean is they trust God as long as the plan makes sense to them. Real faith begins when logic runs out, when the numbers don't add up, when the door stays closed, when the answer doesn't come on your schedule. That's when faith gets tested. And tested faith is the kind that grows. God will often let you stand in uncertainty because certainty would remove the need to trust Him. There will be seasons where you don't understand why things are happening the way they are, or why now, or why not yet. And sometimes the answer won't come, not because God is ignoring you, but because the lesson is in learning to trust without explanation. Faith is believing God is still good even when life isn't. It's choosing to believe He's working behind the scenes when you can't see the movement. Trusting God when nothing makes sense requires humility. It means admitting you don't know everything and accepting that God sees what you can't. You only see what's in front of you. God sees what's coming next year, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Some of the delays you're frustrated about are actually God protecting you from a version of success you weren't ready to handle yet. Faith also means letting go of control. That's hard because control makes us feel safe. We like plans, timelines, and guarantees. But God often removes the safety net so you learn how to lean on Him instead of your own understanding. When you finally let go and say, God, I trust you even if this doesn't turn out how I expect, that's when peace starts showing up, not because the situation changed, but because your perspective did. You're not weak for having doubts. Doubt is part of the human experience. Faith isn't the absence of doubt, it's the decision to trust God despite it. Every strong believer you admire had moments where they questioned, struggled, and wondered if it was worth it. What made the difference was they didn't walk away. They stayed. They kept believing. They kept showing up. Sometimes faith means doing the right thing without immediate reward. It means staying honest when cutting corners would be easier. It means staying kind when bitterness would feel justified. It means staying patient when rushing would feel better. God watches what you do when you think no one sees it. Faithfulness in private leads to blessings in public. When you trust God in confusing seasons, you're telling Him, I believe you know what you're doing. And that kind of trust moves things you can't move on your own. Doors open, help shows up, strength appears when you thought you had none left. Not always instantly, but always intentionally. Faith doesn't rush God. Faith rests in Him, even when nothing makes sense yet. Delay is not denial, even though it feels that way when you've been waiting for a long time. When something doesn't happen on your schedule, it's easy to assume God said no, or worse, that He forgot about you. But God doesn't work on deadlines the way people do. He works on development. What feels like a delay to you is often a season of preparation you didn't realize you needed. Waiting has a way of exposing what's really in your heart. It reveals whether you trust God only when things move quickly or whether you trust Him even when progress is slow. Delay stretches your patience, strengthens your character, and teaches you how to rely on God instead of outcomes. If everything came easily and instantly, you'd never grow into the person required to handle what you asked for. Many times you're ready for the blessing, but you're not ready for the responsibility that comes with it. You might be praying for success, but God is building discipline. You might be asking for elevation, but God is shaping humility. You might want the reward, but God is more focused on the person who will receive it. His timing is designed to protect both the blessing and you. There are things God can't release early without harming you. An early breakthrough without wisdom can lead to pride. An early platform without character can lead to collapse. God would rather have you frustrated for a season than destroyed for a lifetime. So when the answer seems late, it's not punishment, it's protection. Delay also teaches you how to trust without evidence. Anyone can believe when results are visible. But faith grows strongest in the waiting room, where nothing seems to be happening yet everything is being arranged. God works quietly. He connects people you haven't met yet. He moves obstacles you don't even know exist. By the time you see the breakthrough, most of the work has already been done behind the scenes. It's important not to compare your timeline to someone else's. Comparison will make you feel behind when you're actually right on schedule. God's plan for your life is unique, and so is His timing. What's early for one person might be late for another. That doesn't mean God loves them more. It means He's working differently because the assignment is different. Waiting can feel uncomfortable, especially when you've done everything you know to do. You've prayed, prepared, and stayed faithful, yet the door hasn't opened. That's usually the moment God is teaching you endurance. Endurance builds spiritual strength. It teaches you how to stand firm when emotions shift and circumstances don't cooperate. When the time finally comes, you'll understand why it couldn't happen sooner. You'll see how every delay added something valuable to you: wisdom, resilience, discernment, and gratitude. You'll realize that if it had happened earlier, you might not have been able to sustain it. God's timing is not slow, careless, or random. It is precise. He knows the exact moment when opportunity meets readiness. So when you're waiting and wondering if it will ever happen, remember this: delay does not mean no. It means God is still working, still preparing, and still faithful to finish what He started. Your gift will make room for you if you stay obedient, but obedience is often misunderstood. Many people think obedience is about perfection, when in reality it's about alignment. It's about consistently choosing to follow God's direction, even when it costs you comfort, approval, or certainty. Obedience is not always convenient, and it rarely feels safe in the moment, but it positions you where your gift can be seen and used. God places gifts inside people on purpose. They are not accidents or random talents. Your ability, your passion, the thing you do naturally while others struggle, that came from God, but a gift alone is not enough. A gift without obedience can sit dormant for years. You can be talented and still miss opportunities if you refuse to follow God's guidance. Obedience activates what God already placed inside you. There will be times when obedience asks you to walk away from things that look good but aren't right for you. You may have to say no to certain environments, relationships, or shortcuts that promise quick success. It's hard to understand why God would ask you to let go of something that seems beneficial, but He knows what will contaminate your gift before it ever has a chance to flourish. Staying obedient also means being faithful in small places. Many people want the spotlight but neglect the preparation that happens in the shadows. God often tests obedience in private before He trusts you in public. How you handle unseen moments matters. How you treat people who can't help you matters. Your gift grows stronger when it's paired with humility and discipline. Obedience requires patience because God doesn't always explain His instructions. Sometimes He just asks you to move. You won't always know how the next step connects to the bigger picture, but obedience says, "I'll take the step anyway." Every obedient decision adds another piece to the foundation God is building under your life. When you stay obedient, your gift begins to speak for you. You won't have to force recognition or chase validation. The right people will notice at the right time. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. Opportunities will find you in places you didn't expect. That's what it means for your gift to make room for you. It creates space where resistance once existed. Obedience also protects your gift from being misused. God is careful about where He places influence. He knows that influence without integrity can damage both the person and the people connected to them. So He waits until obedience becomes a lifestyle, not a performance. When obedience becomes who you are, God can trust you with more. There will be moments when obedience feels slow and unrewarded. You may wonder if it's worth it to keep doing things God's way, but every obedient step compounds over time. What feels unnoticed today becomes the reason you're trusted tomorrow. God never wastes obedience. He uses it to shape your character, sharpen your gift, and position you exactly where you need to be when the moment arrives. What God promises, no human can block, even though it may feel like people have the power to stop you. There will be moments when it seems like someone else's decision controls your future, when a closed door, a rejection, or an unfair situation makes you believe your progress is in someone else's hands. But people may influence the process, they do not determine the outcome. God alone has the final say over what unfolds in your life. It's easy to get discouraged when you feel overlooked or treated unjustly. You might do your best work and still be ignored. You might be qualified and still passed over. You might be faithful and still face resistance. But resistance does not cancel a promise. Sometimes opposition is confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. If there were no purpose attached to your life, there would be no reason for obstacles to appear. God often allows people to say no so He can show you that their approval was never required. When a door closes because of a person, it simply means that door was never the source of your blessing. God uses people, but He is not dependent on them. If one path shuts down, He creates another. If one connection fails, He brings a better one. What He intends for you will reach you by whatever route He chooses. Trying to fight people for position will only exhaust you. You don't need to prove yourself to everyone. You don't need to defend your calling. God is fully capable of vindicating you. When you stay focused on obedience and integrity, God handles the battles you were never meant to fight. He removes obstacles in ways you could never plan on your own. There will be times when it looks like others are getting ahead by doing things the wrong way. That can tempt you to compromise, to take shortcuts, or to match their behavior. But what comes from God doesn't require corruption to sustain it. Human systems may reward dishonesty temporarily, but God's promises are built to last. They come with peace, not regret. When God makes a promise, it doesn't depend on perfect conditions. It doesn't depend on the economy, opinions, or politics. It doesn't even depend on your past mistakes. God is not limited by history or circumstance. He specializes in turning situations around at the exact moment it looks like nothing can change. People can delay you, but they cannot deny you. They can talk about you, doubt you, or try to exclude you, but they cannot cancel what God has already approved. The same God who opened doors you didn't qualify for can open doors you never saw coming. And when He does, it will be clear that no human hand could have orchestrated it. Your responsibility is not to control outcomes, but to remain faithful. Keep your heart clean. Keep your intentions pure. Keep trusting God even when people disappoint you. When the promise finally manifests, you'll understand that every obstacle served a purpose. It proved that the result came from God alone, not human permission.